Good evening.
Hello. You know the bathrooms back there?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I want to.
But next time they got two back here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Pass it on.
Sorry.
That's okay.
6:30? We should be done within an hour. We just a walk it in. No, she can't go. Okay, I thought we did that, okay.
Do I hold it? Oh,
I don't know, I didn't know we still had that. Pam, do we still? Okay, we'll talk about that.
we good?
We'll do that at board as a whole.
Okay. I would like to call the Flint Board of Education regular board meeting to order it is now 6:31 p.m. Board members, as I call your name, please reply as present for the record. Secretary Perkins,
Present?
Assistant Secretary McIntyre,
Present?
Trustee McNeil,
Present?
Vice President King, Trustee Rutherford,
Present.
Treasurer Luna,
Present.
and myself, I am present. I will now call upon Secretary Perkins to read the district mission statement and first statement in the standards of practice.
Okay. District mission statement. It is the mission of the Flint School District to develop a community of learners who are prepared to live, work, and contribute in an ever-changing society. Flint Board of Education standards of practice. In order to provide outstanding leadership and better serve the Flint community schools, we, the members of the Flint Board of Education, commit to the following standards of practice. We will be consistent in our dealings with each other, as well as students, staff, and community. We will, oh,
2, we will model trustworthiness and honesty in our relationships with each other, with our superintendent, and with our constituents.
3, we will focus on a common goal of providing the best education possible for the student and the Flint Community Schools.
4, we will respect the diverse views that each of us bring to this organization, as well as the view of others that we interact with as we carry out the business of the Board of Education.
5, we will be open and authentic with each other, our staff, and community.
Number 6, as we work to make decisions, we will focus on issues, not personalities.
Number 7, our decisions will be student-centered and based on objective facts.
And
Eight.
go ahead.
8, we will practice good listening skills to better understand our fellow Board of Education members and constituents.
Okay, I seek a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the December 6, 2022 Board Committee of the Whole Meeting, December 6, 2022 Regular Board Meeting, and the January 11, 2023 Annual Organization Meeting.
Support.
Okay.
So move, sir, so move.
Support.
Support.
Thank you. It has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any corrections? Any corrections? Okay, seeing none, the motion to approve the minutes from the December 6, 2022 Board Committee of the Whole meeting, December 6, 2022 regular board meeting, and the January 11th, 2023 annual organization meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I say your name, please say yes or no to approve the motion. Secretary Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Trustee McNeil?
Yes.
Trustee Rutherford?
Yes.
Vice President King?
Yes.
Trustee Luna?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Motion passes by a vote of 7 to, oh, I'm sorry. Michael Clacken, yes. Okay. All right, motion passes by a vote of 7 yes to 0 no. The board will now hear comments from the public. We ask that you state the reason for addressing the board and that you limit your remarks to 3 minutes on matters within the authority of the board and not address individuals by name. Okay, all right. The preceding officer of the board shall have the right to limit the number of persons who may address the board on the same subject. Please state your name and address first before beginning to speak. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to address the board? I do have 3 that have come up. Is that Ms. Carey? Okay, Ms. Carey Downs.
Good evening, Board. Again, my name is Carrie Downs. I'm blessed to be the director of the Flint Community Education Initiative, led by the Crim Fitness Foundation. Our office is located at 452 South Saginaw, and tonight I'm sharing with you an update from Community Ed. As a reminder, last week I shared with you that the work of Community Ed is led by 11 community school directors who are serving in every single Flint community school. They serve as the lead in convening external partners to provide services, opportunities, and supports for our Flint scholars. In addition to the Flint Community School Directors, we also have community health workers through our partnership with Genesee Health Plan, as well as AmeriCorps service members serving in the schools, and all of the partners throughout the community serving. Tonight, I'd like to highlight our Success Mentoring Program. Through our Success Mentoring Program, we partner students, match students who are experiencing chronic absenteeism with a caring adult. Those caring adults meet with students twice a week for about 20 to 30 minutes, and our evaluation from the 21-22 school year indicates that those students who were matched with a success mentor, a caring adult, made on average a 40% increase in their attendance rates. So we're continuing to implement the Success Mentoring Program, and tonight I have some handouts for you that perhaps you could share with your networks. It has a QR code so that if someone was interested in serving as a success mentor, they could sign up and get matched with a student. Additionally, thank you, Ms. Pam. Additionally, I do want to absolutely recognize the leadership of Superintendent Jones and Assistant Superintendent Ms. Murphy. They met with us early this year and really were adamant about making sure that we had as many students participating in sports as possible in the K-6 Crim Sports program. So I'm so happy to report that our participation has increased, and specifically we have seen a significant increase in our girls participating in sports, and that was one of our priorities this year in regards to equity. This current season, we have kindergarten through 6th grade students participating in basketball and volleyball. Our next season for kindergarten through 6th grade students would include Pee Wee sports for K through 2 students with a co-ed kickball program. We have junior and senior indoor soccer taking place this next season. Registration is happening right now, so if parents want to sign their kids up, they should connect with their community school director to register their scholar for sports. Registration closes on February 1st. In addition, next season we'll be providing clinics in tumbling, wrestling, and track and field. Again, registration closes on February 1st. And one additional highlight that I wanted to share, we're so excited. Potter Elementary has a tradition of hosting roller skating right in their gym, and the community school director, Jesse McGraw, is continuing that tradition. And so this Saturday, students will strap on their skates right in the Potter gym from 11 to 12:30, and they'll have a roller skating session right at the school. Thank you so much, board.
This is Gennaro Ford. Mr. Ford?
Hello, Board. My name is Gennaro Ford. I'm a citizen of the greater Flint area, address 1073 Carter Drive, Flint Township. I'm here requesting a letter of recommendation for the Milwaukee Public School as Director of Restorative Practices for the school district as I'm being recruited. I'm a former Director of Facility and Ancillary Services for Flint Community Schools. Some of my attributes in which is noted is for the renovation of Southwestern High School in correlation with the Mount Foundation. There was a budget of $2.06 million. I was able to save $250,000 on that renovation project, which we were directly transferred over to the students. While being the Director of Ancillary Services, there was a line item for $65,000 that indicated project management for that project. As being the director, I took that on to contribute that $65,000 to the actual students. Also, the water program or the water stations in which that was initiated with Murdoch Manufacturing and also Gray Matter in the city of Flint. Mr. Bob Murdoch, myself, and Gray Matter actually came up with that concept. As being a former administrator in healthcare, I knew that the UV filtration, how we sanitize operating rooms, would get the buy-off of the medical society here in the Flint area with the lead crisis. With that implementation of those water systems, the medical society in the greater Flint area did buy off on those, which allowed the Flint school systems to have those systems within each school within the district. In addition to that, I did reach out to Superintendent Jones today. He was unavailable for that letter of recommendation. One of your members did request that I come and visit with you guys and make that request verbally and direct for the from the Flint Board of Education. Thank you.
Is this Principal Fields?
Good evening, board members, and welcome new members to your new board. It's good to have you here. Good evening, board members, esteemed leaders, and community. I'm here today to advocate for the continued consideration and commitment to safety in our schools. In recent days, our school community has weathered some safety concerns, which were both alarming and challenged, even in the most diligent efforts of school safety. Speaking today, I raise concerns over how we move forward, keeping students safe and honoring their person in every aspect. Historically, I have been a staunch proponent in dismantling all systems that mimic the practices of school-to-prison pipeline. In practicality, I realize that in building safe communities, it may take efforts that challenge those very assumptions of my own. We live in a community where the young people are all too familiar with violence that is devastating. In my 17 years as an educator, I have seen 91 young people lose their lives to street violence. As a principal, I have literally had to develop plans to keep young people alive. To that point, security guards and metal detectors have been vital in supporting that effort, with the realization that this practice is a dichotomy to my own philosophical beliefs in which I wish that schools could look like. We are in a season where we have to prioritize and be realistic about how to achieve the utopia that we all desire. We have to be realistic about students' experiences and how to best provide that path that both heals and focuses on overcoming their trauma and helping them to live above the violence that sometimes plagues our community. I implore you to review the student code, to be diligent in your understanding of security detail, and to uphold the request of our superintendent by supporting efforts that will keep students safe by banning book bags at the secondary level. This particular ask has been requested and echoed by 100% of my staff at ALA. In our continued effort to keep young people safe, I deeply appreciate your continued commitment to building policies and expectations for all Flint community students with continued conversations that prioritize safety efforts. I'd like to affirm our superintendent, our assistant superintendent, Mr. Stewart, Director of Pupil Services, as well as my colleague Shanta Price that's in the audience right now, and Ms. Klingman for their support in the last 24 hours. I truly have felt supported in the efforts to help our community, and I deeply, deeply appreciate you. Thank you for your time and consideration today, Board.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Anyone else that didn't get a chance to sign up? Okay, thank you all. The board will now hear, I now call upon Ms. Murphy to present information reports to the board.
Good evening, Board. I do want to follow up on a communication that was sent by Superintendent Jones in regards to the email, in regards to the threat that came into ALA to us last evening. So out of an abundance of caution, we did cancel school this morning, today, so that we can investigate this matter further. Kudos to Mrs. Fields and her team for responding appropriately. The call came in last night around 9:20, and she began to implement the district procedure on notification, so we were able to make a decision that it was best for the scholars to stay home today. She had the opportunity to meet with her team, as well as other district leaders. We met with her this morning to just go over the safety protocols. There had not been an incident in the building that connected to the call that we received, or any incident with any scholars, but it was just out of an abundance of caution. There were some intentional conversation around the work that Ms. Fields and her team does to make school a safe place for our scholars. So her staff feels very safe when they're here with their scholars, but there are things in our community that have an influence on how our scholars show up in school every day. And so those entrance procedures for us, when scholars come into the building, making sure that we have safety advocates there, that our liaison officers are present, that's the work that we can do to make sure that once scholars enter the building and staff enter the building, that everyone is safe. So it is a request from the district that the board make a motion this evening that all backpacks become unallowable unless they're clear, so that we can ensure that scholars don't have the opportunity to bring items that are not safe for the school into the school daily. So that is our request based on our investigative work. Again, there was not an incident connected to the threat that was received. It was just only out of an abundance of caution, knowing that these threats have been happening in our community, and other school districts in our county, and we want to make sure that we're doing everything possible to be proactive instead of having to respond to something negative happening on our campuses. So that's the update for that.
Trustee McIntyre.
I understand that you still have like more to communicate, but in the interest of, I see that President, through you to Ms. Murphy, with permission, that Principal Fields is still here. I would like to request of the board that perhaps, because of the nature, the sensitive nature and the urgency of this, and the fact that it's very timely and it just happened within the past couple of days, and given the relationship to the meeting agenda, that perhaps with your permission we could have Principal Fields come up if we had any additional questions, or because I would like to honor the request that we make a motion to disallow backpacks, but there might be questions, and I would really like to have this kind of a discussion out in the open, if with permission from the board and with permission from Principal Fields and the president.
I don't see a problem.
Support.
Principal Fields, could you step back up, please?
Hey.
Hey. Can we have her come up, or?
Oh, yeah, could you approach?
You want me up here? Okay.
Yes, please.
Where do you want to be? Yeah, okay. so.
This is different.
Are there specific questions for Principal Fields?
First, I would just like to inquire how you're doing and how you've been holding up. I know it must be, you know,
I deeply appreciate the support that I've gotten over the last 24 hours. I said this today, that in past, I've not really had a lot of people ask how I was doing, but that has been resounding over and over and over again, from board members to my own direct supervisor to the assistant superintendent. But more importantly, they've responded pretty swiftly and quickly on requests of what can help not just me feel safe, because what's going to make me feel safe is that my scholars and my staff feel safe. So, yes, I'm doing okay.
Okay. Is there anyone?
I couldn't hardly hear, but you said,
I saw.
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, I don't like to be rude, no.
Hi, Melody. Or Ms. Walliford, I'm sorry. How are you?
I'm good, you're okay. Have a question. I'm in full support of that, but my question is, if they do come in with a backpack, do you guys have something that they can empty it out in until we're able to possibly get them clear backpacks?
Absolutely. We have, right now we're going to be taking their book bags at the door and checking them into, for our student athletes, checking them at the door and making them like Hotel ALA. We'll go ahead and we'll take your bag and then we'll check and give it back to you at the end of the day. So we have a plan going forward with that, is in addition to just looking at security a little bit differently and making sure that the less detractors that you have with the metal detectors, the less metal detractors. And when I mean belt buckles, I mean things that are in book bags. So I appreciate your idea about a clear book bag, and I understand that we want to make sure that students have everything they need. I worked on some of the things that students are bringing in their bags to school are like hair supplies and stuff like that, and sometimes the young ladies have to share those hair supplies. So I took some time today to reach out to some partners to see if I could find somebody to provide me both, like maybe create a vanity in both of my bathrooms to eliminate the students' needs to bring large bags of things, and looking at what they're carrying in those bags. With my students, 91% of them are one-to-one with the computer that we've provided for them. The other 9% have some type of device at home that they're utilizing. And so we also have worked really, really hard to maintain their curriculum in an online platform. And so all of their stuff really is done online. There's not really a need for them to carry something academically. We've also worked to make sure that they have novels that we're reading, that they have them here, but that we also have them available to be able to take home to read as well. So they have a set here and they have a set at home. So while I appreciate the idea about clear backpacks, I can say that things can still get through even with clear backpacks. And to the level of which we can search students' things and still remain honoring, you know, their rights and what they should have available to them.
So can they carry purses?
Yes, purses, I mean, they're an easy search. You can open a purse, and most of the young people right now, they wear like these crossbody purses, which are very, very easy to take a look into if the metal detector indicates that they need to be searched.
Okay, so if a student has any type of medication or any type of supplies they need to have, you'll be able to support that?
100%, but there is a process for students having medication in the school, which has to go through the main office, and there's certain procedures and protocols that are specific to our district that we have to make sure they're maintaining for students to have their medication.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I will say, Ms. Rutherford, if I could, you lifted about the clear backpacks, that the district is already pursuing an opportunity to make that available. We don't want this to be a hardship for families. We
Right.
understand we're in the middle of a school year, and many of the supplies parents have already purchased for their scholars, and so we don't want to make this a hardship to pivot, and so we're moving in that direction as well.
Very good, thank you.
Trustee McNeil?
Thank you, Ms. Bell. I was in a meeting with, over the weekend with MASB, talking about these safety grants that they have for the school and how we can use those grants. I'm quite sure you're aware of anything that come through, so maybe we can kind of look at those as well. I want to just bring this to your attention that some students had told me about, and I have seen it when I was in some of the classroom. It's the windows. Students can bring other students some stuff through the windows, classroom windows. I know we can't catch everything, but how would we kind of look at that, you know? they said that sometimes, even though you check in that way, then they can have friends or students to come in and they meet them in a classroom and go through.
I think that the reality of it is the best deterrent against gun violence and to, having guns in school is really relationships and trust. And it's being able to have your teachers to be very aware and have them be cognitively prepared to look for all of those particular opportunities. And the fact of the matter is, Dr. McNeil, if a student wants to get a gun into any building, not just Flint Community Schools, but any building, they will get a gun into a building. And so us creating the best deterrence against it and minimizing the opportunity for us to have to, when students come through the door in the morning, to make it the least painful thing as possible. And I just know that guns have made their way in even through metal detectors. So I appreciate your question about windows. But I mean, with what I said in my address to the board, sunlight or prison walls.
Right.
I'm going to go with sunlight and having windows and helping my staff or staff around the district be alert and aware. And
So to piggyback on that, the classroom that we're not using, I know we have quite a few empty classroom. Do we have a way to keep those locked, or you guys prefer they stay?
oh, all of our windows are locked. I mean, in this
the classroom door, can a kid just go into an empty classroom
No.
and hang out? Okay.
under no circumstances. I
All
mean, that's all of my doors are locked. My windows are locked.
I know your school is pretty good.
Yeah.
I was really surprised to hear that at ALA, because we've been getting such a good report from ALA.
It
And
was just
if I can,
Yes,
Mrs.
ma'am.
Fields, just to clarify, there was nothing that happened here on campus.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
The campus
Okay,
has
good.
been safe and secure, so I do want to make sure that that is understood. Additionally, we discussed about adding an additional safety advocate to Mrs. Fields' team here, just again, out of an abundance of caution, so that would take her total safety advocates from 3 to 4. To address the perimeter, usually a ratio for a safety advocate is 1 safety advocate per 100 scholars. So she was already sitting at 3 with a membership of 166 scholars. So we were already what somewhat may say overstaffed, but because of the community that we serve, it's important for us to make school safety a priority. And so us increasing that number to 4 so that we can increase perimeter checks, because those, we know that people use the perimeter of buildings to store items. We have to make sure that the perimeter of the building as well as inside of the building is safe. So I do want to just lift that.
Oh. Trustee McIntyre.
So, thank you, Ms. Fields. I appreciate the hard work that you've done, not just now, but over the years. I know that with your work that you've done with restorative justice, and like Assistant Superintendent Murphy, I would like to uplift the statement that you made that we are protecting our students, providing safety, but as a district, we are firmly committed to ending the school-to-prison pipeline. So this isn't a knee-jerk reaction. This isn't, just a punitive thing that we're doing in response to something. And I know you know that. I just wanted to reiterate that because I know all of us here on the board are very well aware of the school-to-prison pipeline. And when you said that metal detectors, searches, while necessary in the moment, that we still are honoring the autonomy and the rights of the students and very mindful of that, and that it's antithetical to the philosophical beliefs as to what schools should look like. So I just would like to, I know that you've said that, I'd like to just repeat that because it's so important, as Ms. Murphy said, to a district like ours, that the best way to keep our scholars safe is through those relationships, through restorative justice practice, not to make more police available or more searches or more metal detectors, although we may need that in the interim, but to continue to move forward with the positive restorative justice practice as opposed to the punitive school-to-prison pipelines, which so many other school districts are facing. So thank you for your indulgence for letting me say all this, but I felt it was really necessary.
I appreciate that, and I think that there's a healing that has to come in our community, and those safety guards and those measures are there for us to get back to a place where this community can be celebrated and not have to deal with the violence. And I just know that in our efforts here at ALA that we've had significant success in keeping kids alive. I think I've shared with a couple of board members before and to my direct supervisors and superintendents and assistant soup that this is the longest that I've went without having kids die. It's been 3 years, and I'd like to think that some of the things that we are doing in order to feed back into their spirits, provide them good opportunities, provide them healing, safe spaces, are helping us to do that. But I recognize, just like you said, to reach that utopia of where our community feels safe again, that our partnerships with our liaison officers, our partnerships with the Flint Police Department, our partnerships with security guards, that helps us to get to a place and to be at a place where we can celebrate community again. So thank you.
Mr. President, quick question, well, quick comment first. Mrs. Fields, I appreciate the hard work you're doing at ALA. Like, it is wonderful. I have a couple of kids that used to work for me, went to ALA, and they loved it. So congratulations and all accommodations to you. You're doing a great job there. But my question is for Assistant Superintendent Murphy. Is this particularly to ALA, or is this including other buildings as well?
Which portion?
The district-wide?
For the backpacks?
Yes, the backpacks, I'm sorry.
Yes, this would be a change in the district's policy.
District-wide, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's including, do we have the capability for Southwestern, our middle school as well? Like, we prepping for that?
Yes, I did reach out to those building administrators today.
Okay.
Their immediate response was regarding their student athletes and making accommodations for them, because obviously they have gym bags, clothes to change, but it was nothing that they felt they couldn't accommodate. So they were in favor of such transition.
Okay. I'm only worried about the middle schoolers that, forget the pencil, forget the books or things of that nature. So I think the clear backpacks, do we have like an ETA on that, or it's just?
I don't. I've requested quotes. We have, a procurement process that we kind of have to go through and making sure that vendors are competitively bid or a part of a contract that's competitively bid out. So we are gathering those quotes. Again, I reached out to the school staff. They were in favor of this. They have plenty of supplies in the classroom for scholars in the event that they don't have paper or pencils, extra books, Chromebooks, things of that nature. And if not, we'll make sure they have what they need. So I think that we can move forward with this with the support of the district. From whatever supply need that may arise, we'll work to address that.
All right. That's my only question. Appreciate it.
Okay.
So, Ms. Fields or Ms. Murphy, are all the best, the good practices that Ms. Fields is doing in ALA, is that going district-wide throughout the whole district? I mean.
Well, Ms. Fields is a showcase school. She is a nationally recognized showcase school for capturing kids' hearts. And so all of our schools are a part of capturing kids' hearts. And so those practices that she has implemented well to an exemplary status, that's the expectation across the district. She's achieved that status before many of our other schools. So that is the expectation. That's a part of one of our goals for this year, that all of our schools in the district become national showcase schools. But that's a hurdle that Ms. Fields has already jumped, and that's why we're seeing the impact of the work that her and her staff are doing. To the point that she made, relationships make the difference, right? Those relationships, knowing a scholar's name and not just saying, hey, you, makes a difference, because somebody knows that I'm here, they see what I'm doing, they know what I have. Those relationships are irreplaceable. And so our teachers, knowing their scholars, that is the reason why we've been so successful as a district, and not having had these events play out on campuses, because of the work of our staff, because of our paraprofessionals, because of our safety advocates, because of our principals, because of our food service workers, because of our custodians, because we make having those relationships with scholars a priority, right? that makes the difference. That I know who you are, I know if you're having a bad day, come over here with me, let me talk to you, let's walk to your class. All those steps make it very important, and our staff is the reason why we haven't seen these things play out on our campus.
And if I could just say behind that, I would be remiss in not lifting my colleagues. I am because of them. I have been poured into by many of my colleagues, Mr. Thomas, Mrs. Bias, Ms. Schaefer. I mean, they've fed into me and they've helped me, and they've been administrators much longer than I have. And if it wasn't for their good guidance and their support and their efforts, I know every single, Ms. Portis-Brown, I mean, every single administrator in this district is trying their very, very hardest to make sure and maintain that they, that they are the most successful with their schools that they can be. I don't think that you could ask for a harder working core of principals. They are hardworking, compassionate, empathetic people who I'm deeply grateful to be affiliated with.
Treasurer Luna.
Hey, good evening, Ms. Auditorium.
Hi, how are you, Mr. Luna?
Good. I know implementing change can be a challenge sometimes for staff, students, really the culture of the school and all the members. So my question is, do you foresee any challenges with implementing this change in policy if it's adopted in your school? And if so, how can we support you to be successful in that?
We already have a full-blown plan. I mean, we worked this morning. We were on a Zoom call immediately 8 o'clock, talking about how that gets done and what do we do to support our young people, and making sure that those gaps are covered. Like I said, some of the things that they're carrying to school, makeup, deodorant, hygiene products, that kind of thing. So we'll have those things here for them. And so I could say that the best effort would be to help us to build partnerships where we can make sure that that we think about the things that we don't normally think about. How can we anticipate the needs of each student? And so that's what we spent the time doing today. And is change hard? Yes. But do kids, scholars, do they seek a place of safety? And for people who make changes that are towards the betterment of their safety and their care, 100% of my students would tell you that that's what the heart of what we do here is. And I can tell you that that's what the heart of my colleagues would do as well.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir.
Trustee Rutherford.
Yes, this is to Assistant Superintendent Murphy. Is there, I would like for the students to be involved. Is there any type of way to do a survey monkey to hear from them? And then also teach out, isn't that the security? Do they do perimeter walks and do they turn in daily reports on?
So we do bathroom checks every 10 minutes, so they check our bathrooms. We also do perimeter walks, I think it's every 30 minutes to 45 minutes. We also, your other question was, do we do perimeter walks? We do bathroom checks. We have security guards that are stationed within the cafeteria.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to make sure, but it's not just about security. It's about everyone being responsible for the security of a building, of teachers being at their doors, of folks that are, not supporting, non-instructional, that are out in the hallways also supporting. So 100% of my staff is in support of that. And I mean, the other schools that I've visited throughout the district, it's very much the expectation is that everybody should be responsible for that.
Okay, do all your cameras work?
Yes.
PA system work completely?
We do not have a working PA system at this current time. I don't think that we're not the only schools in this district that are plagued with that problem, but we have a way that we are contacting our teachers. We've developed ways to be able to stay in contact with them. In the emergency that we have a bell system, and we have a response system that's based upon that bell system to indicate what type of different incidences might occur, and travel with us through our security alerts and our fire drills, fire alarms, that kind of stuff.
So I think we can make it a priority to get all the PA systems working in the district. That's a safety issue. That's just me. That's just Melody.
I mean, on the long list of things that I would love to do and that I've been advocating for, that is one of them, but I've just been realistic in what's been able to what's been able to be able to reasonably be done in the last 10 years.
Very good. Okay, thank you.
VP King.
I know you mentioned the ratio 1 safety advocate to 100 scholars. Are we doing that? Are we increasing safety advocates in each school or just ALA?
comment that I made was in reference to ALA.
Okay. Do we have a plan to increase for each school, or are they staffed enough? Or,
We did, within the last month, increase the number of safety advocates at Southwestern. We added one additional safety advocate to their team as well. That, right now, that's the only plan we had, to add the one several weeks ago to Southwestern and the additional one to ALA today.
okay. Okay.
Anyone else got any more questions for Principal Fields? All right, thank you, Principal Fields.
Okay, thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Trustee McIntyre.
I'd like to make a motion that we eliminate the use of backpacks by students in the Flint Community School.
And as a whole?
Yes, that's what is being requested of us.
If I could,
Yeah.
I've only asked that secondary be addressed. That was my only ask. I just wanted to be clear about
The
that.
secondary, just for secondary,
Yeah, just for
the
secondary.
secondary students. So I'd like to revise that. I would like to request that we eliminate the use of backpacks for secondary scholars, for our secondary scholars in the district.
Yeah, can we, I'd like to open that up for discussion. Definitely would like to open that up for discussion. Vice President King.
I want to, how are we defining secondary as middle school, high school, and ALA, right? Okay, that's all I need to make sure we define it. So, district-wide, only for secondary, but elementary is fine. So they're going to have backpacks, as Assistant Superintendent Murphy, that was, make sure that's the agreement that we're making. For the elementary kids, they will have backpacks, but the secondary, which would be middle school, high school, ALA, will have the no backpack
So
rule.
that's the
I would say,
motion
is that's her,
that
Right.
the trustee made for that.
Yeah,
So-
I just wanted to get it out there because that's the request that was
Right.
made, and I would like to honor that request because it is such a sensitive, we can always make a friendly amendment, we can have the discussion, we can say no, but that was the request, and so I was just trying to honor
Okay.
the request.
Okay, I just want, I got the floor right, okay. I just want to make sure I heard the administration perspective. Is this supposed to be district-wide, or is this specifically to secondary? What was the administration perspective in that?
So my initial request was that the scholars be able to bring clear backpacks or no backpack at all. That was my initial request. So it sounds like Ms. Fields, she has a different opinion about the clear backpacks, and then trustee brought in the secondary piece. So we have talked about 3 different scenarios tonight, just for
Okay.
clarity.
So this one is, okay.
And so, and my motion was to eliminate backpacks. So one of the options would have been to have clear backpacks, but my motion was to eliminate all backpacks in the secondary sphere, which was the request from Principal Fields. And like I said, we can make a friendly amendment, we can have a discussion, so.
Okay, Trustee McNeil.
I appreciate your motion, but I believe that in lieu of that, when you take something away, we're going to replace it with clear backpacks. Is that what you wanted? If that's what we're clear that you want to see at
No.
your school? You don't want the clear
No,
backpack?
I mean, I can only sit here and advocate for my school at
Yeah,
this
for
point
your
in
school
time.
right now.
And I know that my students have significant challenges as it
Yes.
pertains to not just academic challenges, but real life challenges. And I'm not here to put anybody's business in the street,
Right,
nor my own,
okay.
as it pertains to that. But for me, I feel very strongly that the safest place, or the safest thing for me to do for my students would be to eliminate backpacks.
In addition to what you're saying, I just think that this should be taken up as a committee as a whole under governance, and that we as a board come in and discuss this as a whole. So we can just put that possible on your schedule to discuss that under governance.
Trustee Luna.
Yeah, I think there should be maybe a set period where each individual school can implement or customize this policy, and it shouldn't just be kind of a cookie cutter, kind of top-down resolution. So for example, every school has their own culture. I hear the administration's request to either have clear bags or no bags, but I think we should give the school leaders some kind of flexibility with that. I'm not sure how that looks as an amendment. I'm not ready to make one, but I just want to put that out there that, you know, we have to give them some kind of flexibility. They know their staff, students, and culture more than we do. And that's all I have to say about that.
Trustee McNeil?
Could we make amendment to move this to another meeting as a whole, this whole subject? Could that be a motion to your, we have to finish out your motion and make an amendment? Do we have to make a motion to move it to governance?
We could either vote this down, which would probably be tricky, because then it would be voted down and we'd have to have a reconsideration. Or I could amend it, or we could have another board member make a friendly amendment. So if I withdraw that, like I said, I wanted to honor the request, get it out there, have the conversation, try to like troubleshoot to see what would all the members, board members agree to, and see what we need, but get something done too. So
Do you want to
I could
withdraw, or do you want to
withdraw
amend?
my request, and then we could perhaps make another motion to bring it forward to committee with deliberate speed.
Okay,
So I
withdraw? Okay.
withdraw my motion.
okay.
I would like to make a motion. I think we all have some great ideas, but we need to come to the table as a board member because we all want the best for the district. And I appreciate what Trustee Dillon said, that we have to look at it individually. And we can't do this at this particular setting because it would take too much time, that we bring this under governance and Trustee Trite King can set up a schedule when we can just come in and have this conversation, because that is the conversation they're having in Lansing, safety, they got grant money. So we need to sit down and see how we can work, and they asked the district to do exactly what we're discussing now. So I'm making a motion that we move this discussion over to governance.
Second.
Support?
Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Rutherford?
I would just ask that we include the Flint Police. We include authority, law enforcement to kind of assist us. So I just don't want us to make a near-jerk decision. And it sounds like you have enough staff to look through whatever you need to look through temporarily. Do you feel safe continuing with what you have in place? Or is it something we can add right now to help you to keep your campus safe to where you're comfortable? Because if you're not comfortable, then we're not doing what we're supposed to do.
Allow me to pilot no book backpacks.
Okay.
Allow me to pilot that for some
Okay.
time
I think that's
until
good.
you can build policy that with expectations and with what it is. And I believe that there's a lot of information that you can glean from that. And we can check back maybe next month when we're supposed to be. I know that a couple of our schools, one of them is presenting next month, and maybe that's something I can share with you.
But I want to make sure you're good right now. Are you okay now?
If I can ban backpacks.
So Trustee Melly, do you think we should do a workshop since we're bringing in like the officers and other people from the community, teachers? You
I'm
think
looking-
it should be more of a workshop?
I'm looking at two things. I want to make sure that she feels safe and this campus is safe to her liking. If we could do something temporarily until we're able to have good conversation and good dialogue and make a very good decision. And I think whatever decision we make, it needs to be district-wide so we can have some consistency, because we have to get away from, appeasing every situation. This is one district, so we need, it's united. We need to just have it all the way so we all can have the same conversation, and parents and staff are hearing the same words instead of they can do this, they can do that. So I'm just looking for consistency and what's best for the district. Thank you.
Superintendent Murphy?
I appreciate your comments. We did reach out to our other building, secondary leaders to ask them, how would this look in your school? So I think the feedback that I received from them was, school safety is important. Number one, we'll figure out the clothing, the hair gel, the snacks.
Right.
We'll figure those things out, because my question was, from an academic standpoint, are backpacks 100% required for the scholars to facilitate their learning? That was not a concern for the secondary building leaders that I had. Their number one concern was, this is one less issue that I have to clear before my scholars come in, so I can assure that my campus is safe. That was their highest priority. So there has been some conversation internally within the district with the building leaders about this exact conversation. So I don't want it to feel like Ms. Fields is here representing ALA, but this is an ongoing conversation that has come from in many spaces within the district. If it's our UTF leaders, we've had that conversation at our JLMs about school safety. It's top of mind for all of our school community, just from the national lens that we look through, right? So having a district policy, I think, is what's best. We have a transient population. They go from school to school. It's difficult for parents to process, why was I allowed to do this at one campus, but now I'm not allowed to do this here? We have families with scholars on multiple campuses. Maybe I have a high school student or a middle school student and an elementary student. Having a district policy that we can all stand behind, I think, makes it clearer to communicate and clearer for our families and clearer for our staff to be able to communicate and help support. So I just wanted to clear that fact up, that there has been conversation around this, so it wouldn't feel top down, I don't think, for our staff. It may feel like, thank you for doing this. That's just my assessment.
Okay, is there any more discussion? Vice President King?
I would only add an affirmation that we do policy the correct way, do it right the first time instead of going back. We will, I guess I will send the email out when we all available to do the governance committee, so we can get that rolling quicker.
Send it there first.
Yes, so we can send it there, but I just want to make sure we're doing the right thing right for the first time. You know, going back and fixing something is kind of, that's too much confusion. I would agree with that, what Trustee Rutherford said with the parents, so that's it for me.
All right, if there's no more discussion, we can conduct a roll call vote to send Trustee McNeil's to motion to the governance committee. Let me, yes, ma'am. Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Trustee McNeil?
Yes.
Vice President King?
Yes.
Trustee Rutherford?
Yes.
Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
And myself, President Clack, yes. So the motion passes 7-0, 7 yeas, 0 no. Seating government.
President Clark. I
And,
like-
or-
I like.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She finished? Are you finished?
We
You
done?
finished with her? I wanted to make a motion in regards to Mr. Ford's letter of recommendation.
Can we thank,
Yes,
That's what I
I'm
said.
sorry.
That's
I
what I
wanted to
said.
say thank you so
I
much,
just said
Principal
yes.
Fields. Thank you so much.
so much.
Okay, and Trustee Rutherford, you want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we support Mr. Ford's, his request of a letter of recommendation.
Support? Okay.
Any discussion?
It's been supported second. I supported it.
All right, is there any discussion?
Yes.
I think we all
I
support.
just had one question.
Okay.
I couldn't hardly hear him, Trustee Mellon, what was that?
Janero Ford.
Janero Ford, Mr. Ford.
Janiroford. Is that right, Mr. Ford? Oh. Janiroford.
So how soon he said he needed it?
Mr. Ford, would you like to
Can you
step
come
up
to the
real quick?
podium? Oh, I'm sorry, let me shut up.
Can you come up real quick?
That's that leadership skill.
So the deadline is January 26th, but I was requesting January 24th so I could get it proofread and things like that.
Okay. So, a couple days. Anybody, any other questions for Mr. Ford while he's here?
I didn't hear you.
Any other questions for Mr. Ford while he's here?
No, I just like a comment. I was in the district during Mr. Ford's time, and he didn't mention Doyle Ryder. He, I think, I want to say in 6 months, he completed over 2,000 work orders. And he had the full support of the district. And I believe when the one time away superintendent was dismissed, they actually utilized the questioning in regards to offboarding him. So his record stands for itself. I could stand for him. He's amazing at what he does, and I think we would do, and he's a Flint resident, Flint schools. He come from Flint Northern, shameless plug, sorry. And I think we would do a very just great thing by giving him what he asked for. Thank you.
2006 months? You working.
Pardon me?
No, I said that's good.
All right,
2006 months.
Quick thing,
Vice
thank
President
you
King.
for your, thank you for your service, Mr. Ford. My other question is, who will be handling his letter of recommendation?
That's a good question.
This is what your executive administration would, she worked with Mr. Jones.
Mr.
And she will work with Mr. Jones and they'll work that out.
So that's going to be with the superintendent and Kendall with Mrs. Beard. I just want to make sure I know who's doing to make sure it gets done. That's all I need to know.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Thank you, Mr. Ford.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll conduct a roll call vote on Mr. Ford's letter of recommendation. Okay. Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Trustee McNeil?
Yes.
Vice President King?
Yes.
Trustee Rutherford?
Yes.
Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
And myself, Michael Clack, yes. It passes 7 yes, 0 no. So, all right, so we move on to,
President?
President Clark.
lost Ms. Murphy. Oh, I'm sorry, Trustee McIntyre.
So while we're on the subject of responding to community addresses, I would like to make a motion that we move the discussion that the student brought forward in the last meeting about
Tamaya.
the use of the N-word to the appropriate committee or committees for discussion and for some community healing and resolution, because that's unacceptable. As for this board member, I can't speak for the rest of the board, but, so I'm making the motion that we bring this issue forward again with deliberate speed to the appropriate committee or committees.
And what would the appropriate, would that be the academic committee or what committee would that be?
Using the N-word test.
Yeah, you were asking what the,
What committee is the appropriate committee? Which one would,
we need to get a second and then have a discussion.
Second.
okay.
Now,
Is there any discussion? I have.
Yeah,
So
now
what
we
is
can go
the,
to
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What would be the appropriate committee be? Would it be the academic committee or what committee would that, how would that look?
yeah.
Academic.
In the past, when we had similar situation like this, Mr. Jones would take the lead of the administration because this has something to do with the union, really, if it's a teacher involved. Am I correct? And we'd bring that to Mr. Jones that we need them to update the board, what they're finding and how they're going to handle it. And then from that point, I think we end up in a closed door session. And we'll end up in a closed door. So I don't know if we should be,
Well, that's how it's gonna, it's gonna be happen, like automatically. But
Yeah.
what I'm proposing is that we bring the issue.
we need
So
somebody to address it.
I think we should bring it to perhaps the community relations, because I think we need to have a frank and open discussion about this incident, because I know that it's being talked about in the community. And again, it's something that I think we should be more open about and as a community and come to some sort of consensus
Trustee
or just to
Rutherford?
have an
I'm sorry.
understanding, perhaps, not, and an open and frank conversation. We need to have these conversations about race.
Okay, trustee
in
Williford.
today's climate.
With all due respect, I think we should not discuss it right now because we don't want to tank the investigation. We need to allow Superintendent Jones to complete his investigation thoroughly, and based on his findings, we move forward as collectively as a board, because if we were to go into discussion now, that could take the investigation based on some of the conversations that we are having. So I have full confidence in that the investigation is going on, that they would do a very thorough job, and we would have enough very good information and good data to be able to have a good discussion. Thank you.
Okay, so we can move the table. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I support,
Trustee
you
McNeil.
know, what
Right.
Trustee Melanie is saying, but I just want the public to know, because I do get a lot of calls. We have parents are saying why we're so silent.
Yeah.
So we're just letting, this is for the public. We hear you. We are looking into the investigation, and it's not silent. The student came forth, and they wanted to know why nobody is responding. So this is a good opportunity to let them know we're responding, and we're going to adhere to the recommendation that Trustee Melody made, so we can stay out of harm's way, but we have not forgotten this issue. Thank you.
So we move the table this until after Superintendent Jones completes his investigation?
Yes.
Okay, give a second.
I'll support that.
Okay, all right. We conduct a roll call vote on that, too.
There's a motion on the floor,
Yeah.
so we have to, we,
No,
yeah,
we just
I made a
moved
motion
this
to
to-
bring it forward to the community relations, so I can withdraw my motion until a further time,
Okay,
if it's necessary.
okay. All right, moving on.
Board members, in your packet are the finance and operations reports. They are number 12.1, check registry for December 31st, 2022. Also 12.2, budget versus actual for December 31st, 2022. And also 12.25, ESSER workbook snapshot. Are there any questions in regards to the informational items that you've received?
Excuse,
No, we don't have. Yeah, it's,
12.1 through 12.3.
it's information, it's not a,
In action.
it's just information, but now that we do have a treasurer, it should be. No, it's, because it's information, because it's not an action item, it doesn't, this is proper.
okay.
You got it.
Yes.
Vice President King.
Could I request that we get a line item, the withdrawals from each ESSER account? What did we spend it on? I couldn't see that. If it's there, Dr. Tish, there we go. Is that okay? Mr. Clark? Okay.
Point of information? Point of
Trustee McIntyre.
Mr. King, you are now the chair of the Finance Committee, and so,
That's Trustee.
oh, I'm so sorry, he's governance. So I believe that this is something that we're gonna be dealing with in Finance Committee, and we can make these requests and iron out all the details for the specifics. That's where it goes, is in the Finance Subcommittee meeting.
Okay, so
We're not, because this isn't approving anything, this is
I get
just
you.
It's just
information.
I'm asking for me. I want to see what was there. Basically, what do we deduct? That's all I want to see. That's information for me.
But that would be information
That would be
that would be, would that not be information that Dylan would get? Yeah, trustee.
We have not had our sub-committee meetings since we appointed the chair. Question that you asked when we were sub-committee.
Yeah,
Oh,
talking to Mike.
can you hear me now? Yeah. Because we have not had our committee meetings, subcommittee meetings, and she's just given us information, the question that you ask and go directly to the chairperson over finance. So those questions go directly to him. He'll get you the data, and then we can go into a discussion. If you just want that, you can just give it to you. I think I'm understanding what you're saying.
I want to make sure I was clarifying what I was saying. I was
Okay.
simply requesting, so I guess it's going to be the Treasurer Luna. When we get the report, I want to see the line items, what was deducted from each ESSER account. What did we spend money on? How much it was. That's literally the information I want to see. Because a snapshot is okay, but that's something I would just request, and I wasn't trying to like do a dialogue with you. That's it.
So part of our check register would also show that. So the check register that's attached, if you look at my snapshot, it gives you the grant numbers on there. And we can, at some point, sit down so you can kind of learn how to read that check register and identify the grant code so you can associate it with the grant. So every month, I'm submitting that snapshot. But for previous and historical, I could always run a separate report for you, just so you could get caught up to speed. But going forward, every month, that snapshot that shows our current year to date, I'm giving you the check register that tells you what we're spending that money on. And then if you need a copy of that check, you just let me know, and then I pull a copy of the check for the group.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Ms. Tish,
Yep.
you remember the, I think it's the 8x14, and had all the line items, how we allocated those ESSER funds?
Yep, the grant
And I believe
narratives.
that might be what he's talking about, that line items has, each one of the line item, where ESSER 3 came, is identified the line item, what it was spent on. And I think I gave everybody a sample look at it in orientation, but each one of them, the ESSER 1, 2, and 3, is give the detailed line number, ESSER 2, ESSER 3, and what it was spent on, allocated for.
So that was part of the packet that I provided in the orientation for ESSER.
But big enough to
2
see,
and 3.
large
You
enough
want
to
it
see.
in bigger? I can do it bigger too for you guys. It's not- I'm happy to. That's easy.
I don't have a question, but I would just say that, once we get the committees established and confirmed, I would just reach out to the administration to go over goals, and also I would reach out to each individual trustee to go over their vision and goals for the Finance and Operations Committee.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Dr. Wolf?
I have one.
Okay, Trustee Rutherford.
Just for clarification for me. Of course, I got it wrong. I don't know what I'm looking at. Yes, I do. It's invoice, hold on, this new technology.
And give us the page number when you find it.
I don't know, hold on.
You gonna check it?
I'm at the check register.
Okay, yeah,
I think it's,
they picked those page numbers.
got
They
these
at the top of
middle-aged
page.
eyes. It's invoice 142572. It looks
on
like an at-risk purchase service. What's that? For $8,054.
I'll give a page number or account number so I can kind of.
I'm looking at the
select
check registry for December
Could you see
31st.
it, Mr. King?
The top right here.
I'm right here.
I know, we talking about the top, just the page.
Well, I don't know. It's a snapshot, I believe.
Okay.
So I'm looking at the check register for December 31st. It's a snapshot, I believe, yeah.
She on 53, page 53.
E 12.1.
Oh, this one I see it's right on page 1.
Yeah,
So it's
12.1.
for the group here, she's looking at the very first page of your check register,
Yeah.
like the third or fourth one down.
Sorry, you guys.
Yep, for the student licensing.
Yes,
So that 4910 is telling me that we purchased, I'm not sure what Amplify is, it's probably some student.
It's the Dibbles platform, so that's the assessment tool that we use to assess where our early, I think it's K3 scholars are. So that's the purchase of that online learning platform for teachers to be able to assess those scholars.
what's the name of it?
Dibbles,
Dibbles?
yes, and it's an acronym for something.
Say that one more time for us.
Dynamic indicator of basic early literacy skills.
Yes.
Dynamic.
Thank you. Okay. No more questions, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wolf. Okay, moving on. I will now call upon Ms. Murphy to present action items to the board.
Thank you, Mr. Clack. I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve Resolution 21.9, approval to attend Michigan Association of School Boards, MASB, and National School Board Association, NSBA conferences.
Support. So moved.
Okay. It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay, Vice President King?
This including all training that we do as a board, right?
Yes.
Making sure this,
True.
okay. There's no limit on how far we can go?
It's only
Yeah,
so many
it's only,
conferences.
it's only like,
Well,
three-
yeah,
it's only
I'm
three
saying,
conferences, though.
so even for our board training and all the, on
Yeah.
CBA 101
Yeah,
through,
the conference is kind of a little different, we go in
Talk.
groups,
So this
however,
is
and then your MASB training, all of that is already included, it's your conference.
okay, this is just conference, well, say conference and trainings.
Yeah, and that's what it is, conference.
Okay,
and
so it's
training.
including CBA, all the CBAs?
Yes, sir.
That's all I need to know, thank you.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay. Seeing no further discussion, the motion to approve Resolution 21.9, approval to attend MASB and NSBA conferences will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve this action. Treasurer Luna,
Yes.
Trustee Rutherford,
Yes.
Vice President King,
Yes.
Trustee McNeil,
Yes.
Assistant Secretary and Treasurer McIntyre,
Yes.
Secretary Perkins,
Yes.
myself, President Clack, yes. Motion passes by a vote of 7 yes, 0 no. Ms. Murphy.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve Resolution 21.10, Flint Board of Education Committee assignments for January 2023 through January 2024.
So moved.
Support.
Support. All right, it has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay. Secretary Beard has passed us out the committee sheets. Y'all want to take a look at those real quick?
I have a question.
Vice President King?
So, starting at the board representatives, I see there's 3 vacancies. I know I was talking with Mrs. Pam about the boards that we do serve on, and a kind of confusion on what exact boards, because in the bylaws, they specify a longer list. So I'm asking, is this a condensed list based off what we don't do now, or?
Ready? Yes, yes, Trustee McNeil.
The board has the pleasure to do as it pleases. It can serve or not serve. They put these here, representatives there and here. I can tell you that Flint School Classroom Support Fund Board, really appreciate board members coming to that. That's, I know that one is still there. The Michigan Council of Urban Board of Education, we have to look and see if we're still doing that, because we haven't heard anything from that from the last 2 years or 3 years I've been on here. And the Education Foundation for Flint School, I believe that one is still available. So it's not like we vote for this stuff, because you just have to have the time to, go to those meetings and stuff. So that's a choice, everything the board does is a choice.
Okay.
So if there's something you want to do, you can say, I can do that.
I just want to make sure, in the bylaws.
And the
there's-
Flint Library.
Right, yeah, there's a couple of, I just want to make sure that we doing all what's in this bylaws, but I want to make sure which ones we're not doing, so when we come time to.
Can I finish? In your bylaws, the board had made some decisions and changes from the previous board. We have moved and passed some stuff. However, that's what your role is going to be. We have to update some of this stuff, because it have not been, how many years?
25.
Yeah, and they recommend that we update our board policy so we can move forward. And that's the first thing that we have to do, to update some of this stuff. It's been, about 20 years? And they're requesting that we update. I've been trying to get it done for 2.5 to 3 years. We make changes and stuff at the board, but we don't go over to the, to governance and make these changes and get them updated. So some of this stuff that we're gonna have to look at and see where we at for the last 3 years. But this is how the process has been for the last 3 years. You pick where you want to go. We can't make you, nobody can tell you what to do, and it's up to you.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was clear. I just want to make, for me, it wasn't about voting on anything. I want to make sure our district, what boards are we serving on? And I'm going to just go with the ones that's here. And just make sure we know it as a board, as a whole, that we go back to review board representatives. That's 1180-5. I just want to make that known.
Mr. President,
I was next.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Trustee Rutherford.
Yes, I wanted to add to this list, Hurley Medical Center Board. I had an opportunity to speak with the mayor, and with the opening of the wing of the adolescents mental health ward, I thought it would be very advantageous for someone from the board to represent Flint schools, and that's something I'm definitely interested in regards to making a straight line to the medical field, the healthcare field for any student, so that they can have an up-close view of what we have here in the city of Flint, with Hurley being a trauma one and one of the best hospitals in the world. So I think that's something we should take advantage of.
Okay. Would that be community relations?
I can't hear you.
Would that be community relations?
No, that'd be me going Hurley on the board.
Are you asking that we add her
Yes,
board to?
yes.
Oh, that is where we come in, that is where.
I thought you just said we could do whatever we want to.
No, listen to me, I'm just trying to be.
I'm just
That's where we go into
pulling your leg.
That's where we go into governance, that's when Brad comes in, the MASB attorney, he said he's willing to come in and work with, I like that idea. Is you saying that we should make this part of our policy?
No. I just want the Flint schools to have, I would like for Flint schools to have representation on Hurley board, on Hurley's board.
I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, okay.
Correct, that's okay.
I don't even know if you know what that is. Would it come under something else? We have to look at that.
And are you saying that we have representation?
I
She
can't
want a
hear you.
board member on Hurley.
I can't understand what you're saying, I'm sorry.
Are you saying that we have representation?
We do
already?
not, I'm asking.
She's saying she wanted
No,
representation.
I'm asking to create it. I didn't see it on this list, so I just wanted to bring it to the attention of the board that is my desire.
So we,
Yeah, so that's something that has to go
Put on the agenda?
into committee and
That's not true.
probably like a
That's
board
not true.
committee of the whole for governance.
I know that's not true, but I just wanted to bring it to you all's attention,
you
but
know it's not
we can
true.
discuss it
It's-
later.
Okay,
Mr.
wait a minute. Vice President King?
all right, so Trustee Rutherford, I think that's a great idea. I think going into bylaws, I think we probably have to put that on governance.
That's fine.
Add that to the list inside, I think, where was that, 1180-5.
1180-5.
1180-5, on my book is page 38. I think we probably can look into adding that to the list. Make sure we're working with the city, make sure that's fine for that to happen.
Can that be expedited, sir, please?
Yes, we can put that on governance,
Thank
if
you.
that's okay with the board, right?
Oh, do I need to make a motion?
So make a motion.
Because I was told we don't have to vote on those.
We're gonna make a motion, you're gonna make a motion that one of the board members sits on the Hurley board. And we
Right.
want it to go on the governance.
Sure.
If it's by it being, you being the chair of governance, you would have to
I
put
just
that on your
put it on
agenda.
there, right?
Right.
But we don't need a motion to put it, just put it on there?
You can just-
Okay.
Okay. A motion, I'm okay with that. I'd like to make a motion that we put it on the governance board. Hurley Medical Center, Flint Board of Education have representation on Hurley's board. I'd like to make a motion.
Any support?
We're in the motion right now, right?
No.
She just made it right now.
I need some support.
She needs support.
Support.
Thank you.
Okay. So I guess we have to conduct open up for discussion? Discussion?
I want to know, when you said, Ms. Rutherford, you wanted the children, how do you want to, how is that supposed to happen?
Being on the board, you can see what's going on at Hurley's, and I'll be able to bring it back to the board and things that I think would be an advantage for our students here. I would rather them get it earlier than later, and I think that was my rationale because of my passion for wellness and with Hurley being a Trauma One hospital.
Okay. Treasurer Luna?
Just so I'm clear, through you, Mr. President, Ms. Rutherford, we're requesting that we have someone sit in the meetings as a non-voting member and report back to this board about their business and doings.
Correct.
Okay.
I guess I got to put, will they
Okay,
allow?
Secretary Perkins?
I know that, well, I know some of the members on the Hurley board, but will they allow you to do that?
It's the discretion of the mayor.
Okay.
He appoints.
Okay. Any more discussion? Oh, I'm sorry.
I just would like for us to put this in a committee for discussion, to make sure that we dot our i's and t's and understand exactly what it is as a board and get clarity understanding, because this has never been presented before like this, and that we, our administrative assistant contact the right people to make sure how this process works.
You can contact the mayor's office. He makes the,
That's,
mayor
Trustee
office makes the
McIntyre?
appointments to Hurley's board, the mayor's office.
Trustee
So,
McIntyre?
This is the Board of Education. This isn't the City of Flint. So they're like separate entities. And so we operate autonomously, independently. So the way that the procedure should be that if we're entertaining this, which I think is a wonderful motion, which I think is that we should work to do it, but it needs to go before committee, perhaps the governance committee, to talk about this. No, she made the motion to do it.
No, I
So
did
we
not.
need
No, I did not. I made the motion that it go to governance.
to go to governance?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the
So
motion that I made,
The
so that it
motion
could
to
be
go
discussed.
to go to governance.
Yes.
We'll discuss it, and then we'll look at the process to see about whether it's something that can be done. What I'm concerned about is having individual board members having private discussions with the mayor or with the City of Flint's office. That's not according to our bylaws. According to our bylaws.
Allow me to
I'm
interrupt
still
you.
speaking.
Wait a
I'm
minute,
still
let's keep
speaking.
order.
According to our bylaws, we are individual board members, we come together as a whole, and we make decisions as a whole, and then we act on them. We can't go out into the community or to the mayor's office and start acting as individual board members and things like that. So I would really like to respect the process and follow the bylaws and make sure that we do this following the open meeting setting and like we're supposed to do.
Trustee Rutherford?
With all due respect, no meeting was held at all. There was no contact at all. That was something that I felt as though the district need, because I've worked in the district before, and there is no bridge between Hurley and Flint schools outside of traumatic events. I have no problem going to governance, having a discussion, all the legalities that you all see fit need to take place. I don't have a problem with that, but I wanted to bring it to the attention of the board that that is a void that we need to fill. Thank you.
Okay. Any more discussion? So we need to conduct a roll call. Okay. Yeah, so motion is to send Trustee Rutherford's motion to the governance committee. Okay. Conduct a roll call vote. When I call your name, please say yes or no. Trustee McNeil?
yes, for further discussion.
Yes, okay. Vice President King? What am I doing?
Yes.
Okay. Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
Trustee Rutherford?
Yes.
Did I say Trustee McNeil already? Okay. Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Secretary Perkins?
Yes.
And myself, President Clack, yes. So it's been passed 7-0. So we're going to move Trustee Rutherford's motion to the governance committee.
Thank you.
Okay.
So we still have a motion on the floor
Yeah.
do.
to approve the committee assignments.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, we can already move to that. Okay. Is there any more discussion?
Yeah.
Treasurer Luna?
This isn't an amendment to 21.10. It's really just a question to my colleagues through you, Mr. President, but I think in the spirit of transparency, voluntarily, obviously, it'd be nice to hear from the chairs about some of their higher picture goals, if they've even thought about it or their vision for the committees, and if not, that's fine.
Trustee McIntyre, do you have any discussion? Trustee McNeil?
I think that's something that we can do as a whole, we put in people on the spot. I don't think we need to do that because, they was elected officials. We have people that are elected officials, I don't think we have to do that, at this point. It is something that you wanna put in the bylaws and require requirement, but it's not a requirement. So that's what you're asking, that you
No,
want
no,
us to.
I
Well,
just.
what did you ask that we
So
kept?
I'll restate it, and
Okay.
I want to be intentional. I'm not making a motion that we have like these nominees or the recommended chairs give a presentation or anything. I just said it voluntarily, it'd be nice for the public's purposes to hear some of their ideas as chairs of these committees. That's it. I'm just asking if people want to talk about that at a higher level now. If not, that's fine.
Trustee McIntyre?
So with all due respect, it's not necessarily about the ideas that the chair is the conduit through which the work gets done and organized. So the ideas of the chair shouldn't be dictating what happens in the committee. We're doing the work of a district
Right.
as a whole body. So I'm kind of confused about what your
Let me-
intentions
let
are.
me provide some clarity. I agree with everything you just said. In the bylaws, it says that the chair with the committee kind of develops objectives with the administration of the members of the committee. When it comes to the goals of the committees, I'm just saying it'd be nice to hear some discussion for the public's purpose. And anyone can talk about it. What could
So
we
if I
possibly
could be-
see as our visions for those respective committees?
We've got a
Wait a minute.
school, we've got,
I'm sorry.
and
Trustee
I
Mc-
was,
trustee-
he interrupted me.
Okay.
So we have the school board visions, that's our collective goal. We've got the work of the board. I mean, we should be acting as a unified, cohesive group, and where the discussions take place are within the subcommittee meetings. So if there's any, like, issues or anything that comes
Right.
up, and ideally, the way that we've worked in the subcommittees before is to work through consensus. And I don't mean just a sloppy definition of consensus where a couple of people agree and one doesn't. I mean literal consensus where you work things out so that, if there's any misgivings or reservations or any problems or any, conflicts, that it gets worked out to everybody's satisfaction. I mean, obviously, there are times when that can't happen. Consensus isn't ideal, but it shouldn't be, as board members, as elected officials, we should be listening to different viewpoints and weighing them and coming to logical, rational decisions about what's best for the district, I guess. So, that's where I'm at. I'm still trying to wrap my head around what it is that you're requesting, because that's why the finance subcommittee meeting is chaired by the treasurer, and the governance committee is chaired by the that's just like the structure of it, so we can get the work done. These committees are a lot of work.
Okay, Trustee McNeil?
In other words, what I'm saying is that, what we're telling the community, we have a strategic plan. That is our vision and goal. It is outlined in the strategic plan. That's how we ended up with our debt elimination, working with the administration. On top of that, we have when you're talking about going out into the community, we are talking about the 3 R's that we talked about on day one. The administration spent a lot of time on the 3 R's. The umbrella that you see sitting up, that they presented to you through the presentation, these are the things that we as board member are looking at, even in each committee. So you as the chairperson, you're making sure that the ESSA lines up with what the ESSA lines up with. HR is looking at different things as it comes to downsizing. So everyone has come with very good gifts and ideas, and when you get to your committee, you come to your committee with an agenda. In the past, it's been difficult to get a committee chairperson to come to your committee with an agenda. So I don't think we have to Because who knows, sometime throughout the year, you might even change. I don't think this is where we should be. Our focus should be on the strategic plan. Mr. Jones has the vision of the district. He's doing very well with that, and getting board members and him to work along side by side and making sure these things is done. Community relation, community partnership agreement, all of these things are done under the old subcommittee and committee meeting, if I'm understanding you. So if you're looking for expertise, I think the expertise that you might have got 5,000 votes, I got 9,900, 2 or 3 members might have got 5,000, one got 10,000. The public has spoken. And I think we all have leadership ability, if that makes sense. Thank you.
Treasurer Mel.
I want to make sure, with all, so where we are, I just like to pivot from what you said. We all are elected, but I don't know how you all operate. We all are doing the strategic plan of the district, but how do we, being a chairperson, I see, or like, for example, over academics, what is my approach in completing the strategic plan? And it's good to know individuals' personality. I'm a red, so you have to be direct with me. And if we knew each other's personality or how we approach things, it just sounds like saying where your goals are, the things you would like to have happen. It allows myself to see how I can work with you and how I can support you, instead of just grabbing something out of the air and just going with it. So when I see where you're going, I can see where we can work better together as a group, because we're all coming from a clean canvas, if you will. So I'm just asking that, it sounds like what Dylan was asking is just share your approach in regards to getting the district to where Superintendent Jones would like for it to go. Thank you.
So for academic, it's the MDE intervention. That's a 3-year program that you chairing and that you'll be involved in as we speak about academic. As we speak about, so that's going to be a big involvement. And that academic is in your strategic plan. I don't know if you guys have that strategic plan. We have the strategic plan, then we have to add them onto the strategic plan. And so everything we're doing is based off of that strategic plan. However, the board can make changes and ideas, but right now, I want to call you Trustee Melody. If you was chairperson over academic, MD, we need you. I'm telling you now, because we have 3 years to get that program together, and that's going to be your focus point, how it's going to look like. That's where you're going to play that role in, going to those meetings and stuff and bringing it back to the board. You're going to probably be working with Kiana and Mr. Jones and MDE. So if that makes any sense, if when you talk about when we get in, I know where in community relation, I know what role that I probably need to play. She probably know what role she need to play in HR. So then you find your role as it relates. Each board member meets with your superintendent once a month, one-on-one, to discuss those issues where your ideas and what do you want to do. You do those with the superintendent one-on-one.
That's fine, but if we're going to guide the superintendent, we need to know who needs to be at the table in making decisions. So,
She said you're gonna guide the chief,
so
the
as it
superintendent,
relates
she
to
know who gonna get the table.
asking individuals about what are your goals and how are we going to be able to assist the superintendent, then we need to, for myself personally, I would need to know that I need the union, all 3 unions at the table when we're dealing with academics. And I wouldn't know that unless like you just spoke today. So it's just a matter of us helping coach each other along and feeling comfortable in the lanes that we're in. I think that's all he was asking. Thank you. No more.
Treasurer Luna.
I'll just model what I wanted to, I guess, ask for, just for lack of understanding, and maybe that will get some clarity. Again, I said voluntarily. So when it comes to finance and operations, there's a 20-plus properties that are vacant, are underutilized, that are not housing students right now. There's less than 3,000 or so students in the district. So there's issues, challenges, and opportunities that I think we're gonna have to address immediately, short-term, in a phased approach long-term in the Finance and Operations Committee. So I would love to work with that committee, this board, the community, and the administration on addressing these issues proactively in a way that has the input. That's all I was asking, just like a higher level vision for what members or that chair in that committee want to work on to bring to the full board. That's all I was just trying to ask about. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Trustee McIntyre?
So that really kind of alarms me a little bit, because again, we are individual board members that are supposed to work together as a board, and we come together and make decisions as a whole. We don't have an individual, I mean, this talk about personalities, this isn't about it should not be about personalities. Personalities are what's causing some of the division and the disruption. This isn't about personalities. This is about our district. This is about a Flint public school and keeping our district open, keeping it public, retaining our generational wealth. We have assets that are not going to be privatized and given away. Not at all. And that does not fall under Finance Subcommittee meeting. We're not offloading property. We make decisions as a board. We don't have one person going into a subcommittee meeting and pushing their agenda through. That's not what the board is supposed to do or how it's supposed to operate. And if that's how an individual board member is going to operate, then I think that's a larger discussion, because you're going to have to do that under the umbrella of the Open Meetings Act. You're going to have to do it under the umbrella of the state laws of Michigan, the bylaws of the school board, and basically the will of the community. So we also have a vision for the district. It is the district's vision. It's not the superintendent's. It's not the board president's. It is, we have to think as a whole, as a district, and take the egos and the personalities and the individuals out of it. And if we don't do that, we're doomed to failure. We're already facing so many obstacles. We're going to have the emergency deficit elimination plan be imposed on us again if we're not careful. We're going to have to deal with the financial emergency management situation, which will take over your district. As the chair of the Finance Subcommittee meeting, that should be your primary concern right now. We have the work of the district to do, not these individual projects and whatever it is outside stakeholders have in mind for the district.
Okay, I'd like to call the question.
Okay.
Let's-
If I could.
Call for the question, it's
I'd
done.
like to call the question. We just-
Support.
no. So, we in discussion, so we voting on, okay, all right.
We can't discuss it. We got 11 months to go.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion to approve Resolution 21.10, Flint Board of Education Committee Assignments, January 2023 to January,
When you call for the question, you're supposed to have a vote, right? You're supposed to have a vote after we call for the question.
yeah, I'm reading, yeah, I'm reading up to it. We about to,
Okay.
yeah, I'm about to do it right now. Okay, will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve this action. Trustee McNeil.
Yes.
Trustee Clack, yes.
Now how that go?
No,
On the call for the
Yeah,
question.
that's the CCD.
Oh, my bad.
Go back to the
Okay.
committee.
I'm
sorry, Mr.
Okay, okay, all right. Okay, so,
we call for the question
So you vote on call?
yeah,
and take a roll call for
okay.
Yeah.
it to close it.
Okay, Trustee McNeil.
Yes, I support it.
Okay. Trustee Clack, me, myself, yes.
Yes.
Trustee Rutherford.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Vice President King.
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre.
Yes.
And Treasurer Luna,
Yes.
and Secretary Perkins.
Yes.
Okay. Vote passes 7 yes, 0 no. Now we move on to,
Now we're going to that.
To the motion.
okay, all right. So seeing no further discussion on the motion to approve resolution number 21.10, Flint Board of Education Committee Assignments, January 2023 to January 2024, will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve this action. Trustee McNeil.
Yes.
Trustee Clack, yes. Vice President King?
Yes.
That's good. That's good. You learning, you learning.
I'm sorry. All right, Trustee Rutherford.
Yes.
All right, Trustee McIntyre.
Yes.
Secretary Perkins
Yes.
and Treasurer Luna.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Vote 7 yes, 0 no. Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Okay, do any board members have any comments before we adjourn? Okay, Treasurer McNeil.
I just want to let our board know that we're running out of time. Kiana, we have about a year to spend that other, get this money done. Is it about a year?
September 2024.
So the quicker we can get into our subcommittee and move forward, and working with Mr. Jones, the quicker it'll be for us to start making action. We do have 10 bids out for vacant properties. I'm just speaking to the public. I do have your bids that came in. We're working with Mr. Jones as we speak on those property that Mr. Jones and administration allocated that we had up for bid and sell. So when we get back with those meetings, we'll finish discussing those, because I know the public, a lot of them tuned in thinking that we was gonna do that tonight, and I'm glad Trustee Dillon brought that up, but we're gonna bring that back to the table. We're waiting on some more information about those bids of those 10 property.
Treasurer Luna.
Yeah, Mr. President, I want to be clear. I want to avoid any potential mischaracterizations of comments I've said at this meeting. We have a huge opportunity to have our district
We can't
become
hear you.
stable.
Okay.
Is that better? I'm sorry.
Oh,
Way
yeah, now
better.
we can
There
hear
you
you
go.
real good.
Okay, I'll just go back from the jump. I want to be clear, this board, this district, this community has a huge opportunity to stabilize enrollment, to figure out how we can get our budget in a space that supports student achievement, academic excellence, and long-term viability. You know, we're individual trustees, but we're a body that operates together. So I want to make that clear to the public and to my colleagues that this is what I'm communicating. Any mischaracterization that has ever been said about that, I just want to make that sure that from my voice, that's what I'm communicating.
Anything else? Trustee Rutherford.
I just want to say to every board member standing before me, I'm here to support you. We may not agree, but we will respect each other, and I will always respect you. I'm not one to communicate a lot outside of the board, but if you all need me, I'm available. We do have some strong personalities on here, but that's a good thing because we can get things done collectively. And Michael, you have my full support as president. Every person on this board has my full support. I may not agree with you, but just know you have my full support. We're here to move this district forward. That's what I'm here for. You may not agree with me. I'm okay with that. Come talk to me. I'm the best person to get the best answer about Melody. Okay? Thank you.
Dr. Joyce.
I'm quite sure you guys got the letter from MDE, the email, and they want those 3 people from academic. Do you want to take over and explain it to them, or you need me?
No, you go ahead.
They're requesting that the president and your academic committee work with them. You start with them and you end with them. This is about the intervention program. And so your academic committee and the president is a plus. They're looking for you. They done reached out, and Mr. Jones is reaching out, that you appear, and you got those next 2 meetings, and this is where we're getting ready to get very, very busy, and I appreciate Trustee Melody, what she said. I can work with anybody, but I cannot work with BS, and I won't. But we can work together and move this district forward. We're intelligent and we're smart, but I just want to let us know that, Mr. Clark, they will be contacting you, and Mr. Jones gave us the dates for that academic meeting, yes.
Anyone else?
Mr. President,
Mr. Vice President?
I will quickly say and affirm what Trustee Rutherford has said. We're here for the students. I mean, we can say it, but it's time to put action where our words are. The students are the next leaders of this country, our city, and we need to give them all opportunities, resources that we can. And I know this board is committed to student achievement. I just wanted to make sure that we all on the same page. This is about students. You know, us getting out the way to put students first should be our main priority. Our district will flow when we all operate as a whole respectfully. Student achievement should be our main priority. That is me. Thank you.
Anyone else? Oh, I'm sorry, Secretary Perkins.
There's, when we start doing the travel and training for emergency's sake, as I understood, and I did talk to the superintendent about it, about the administrative assistant having a credit card in case we all have emergencies or whatever, you know. And it's been done in the past, I think.
Yes, in the past, your executive administration has always had access to the charge card. And that is something that we have mentioned to Mr. Jones, and he's looking into it, that your administrative assistant, your executive administration assistant always have a charge card and here to help the board. That is what Ms. Pam's job is for, is to help the board. And she does a lot. And we have mentioned that to Mr. Jones, and do we need to make a motion? I don't know how that process should be working. We could make a motion with the treasurer.
So Vice President King,
Are you making a motion?
I did make a motion.
no, she didn't make a motion.
Oh, well, I'm
No,
making a
you didn't.
motion that we support the administrative assistant in having a credit card for any crisis that we may encounter as we travel or whatever it needs to be used for.
Can that go through the finance committee first?
Yeah, it would have to, wouldn't it?
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't
We
it
gotta
have
get
this
support to get
discussion?
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, support.
Okay,
Second.
so is there any discussion?
Through you,
Treasurer
Mr. President, to Ms. Murphy, which employees in the district have access to a credit card?
So currently, we have, and Dr. Wolf, correct me when I'm wrong, we have 2 procurement cards that are always held in the finance department. Anytime any staff person wants to make a purchase with that card, they have to first enter a purchase order into the purchase order system, and then they would go to the business office and check the credit card out, sign the ledger indicating what the amount is once the purchase order has already been approved by whoever the approver is. That's currently where our business office procedural sit.
Yeah.
So there are not any procurement cards that are distributed to even principals at this point that are facilitating business for scholars.
And that goes to my next comment, thank you. So what I'm hearing is our school leaders who oversee staff and run the school, hundreds of students don't have a credit card, and there's a process to go through and make a purchase already that exists.
Correct. Now, the policy, the board policy will give you all the autonomy, but we will have to update our business office practices and make sure that the oversight of that card is in line with the intent and purpose of the use of the funds.
And I guess, thank you so much. And I guess with that, to my colleagues, I don't think it's necessary that we provide the executive assistant to the board a credit card if the process exists. I mean, if the principals don't have one, why would we give our executive assistant one? It just doesn't sit right with me.
If you ever,
What's the process? No, go ahead.
I think what we're trying to clear up, like in the past, There's things happen when we're traveling. The previous administrative system before, with the other superintendent had that card, and we had an incident where when we got to the hotel, I don't like using my charge card. But it just so happened that the assistant had the access, the previous administrative system had access to the charge card, and it was taken from her, is my understanding. And so we're just saying, there don't have to be a big limit, but when you're traveling, there's a lot of hiccups come up, and you're gonna have to pull out your charge card and your money, and we doing school business. And so if that person has access, and they usually have that access on that card when you go to those hotels and different places. But if this administration had that card, no big limit on it, just for helping the board out when those emergencies come up, because it took me a while to get my money back. That's what I'm saying. I sit here free. Everybody, some people work. I sit here free. Gave up a 6-figure place to sit here free. I shouldn't have to keep digging in my pocket. We are the board. We should be taken care of. The board is the top. The board is saying what we need, and we don't, it's back and forth. The board is saying this is what we need, that this administration need. We ain't talking about no $20, $15, or $30,000. We're talking about in case of emergency, who's going to get us out of these places? Where are we going to go? And that is the purpose of it, but that's for the discussion. I have no more discussion about that, and we can take it further to a board as a whole, but we did discuss that a little bit with the superintendent, and we can just take it from there. We have 7 board members, and everybody has a right to vote up or down.
Trustee Rutherford?
As it relates to, let me just be transparent, I've been executive assistant for 16 years. When it comes to preparing to travel, all that's taken care of prior to even leaving. It's probably done maybe 30 days before you receive a confirmation number. All that is taken care of. I think those things should come on a need to have basis, but you can do, you can get an advancement. I think the policy looks like you can just, you fill out the prerequisite or what have you, where you may need it to where you may get an advancement. I think a lot of that stuff is doable instead of adding more responsibility on the executive assistant. I think that's something that we could work around. I'm sorry, yeah, where a board member could get advancement. I think that's within the realm of what's going on. But I think providing a credit card would definitely, it'll just be, it's a risk that we don't need, and she don't need any more added on to her. You know, as far as her making all of the travel reservations and everything in advance for all 7 of us, and probably it'll be 10 to 15 people, once she get the confirmation, that'll take care of everything. And just get an advancement if you need that.
Can we hear from the executive?
But that could be further discussion.
Can we hear from her and say what's best, what you work best with?
Never had.
Right. So are you?
Say which one I work best with, but I do know the policy and the procedures at work. I really don't.
So is this
Pam,
is
you
the
don't have to
question I
answer.
do want
You
to ask.
don't answer. Don't answer.
Is case of emergency and you're not there, you know, sometimes we do run, when you get to that desk, you do run into hiccups. You know, we had one board member who was in Grand Traverse, and, you know, he had to go spend money somewhere else. So when we have these hiccups, do you have, we know what happened, do we have a way where you can cover those expenses? You know, like you can call the hotel and say, hey, you know, this and cause you know, they want their money, they don't want no excuses. So how do you say, I just want to make sure I don't be out of expenses again like that.
Is that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
The hiccup that happened in Grand Rapids,
Yeah.
I had the proper paperwork for the proper hotel, for the correct hotel. That situation, somebody went to the wrong hotel, and that's why they came out of their own money.
Okay.
So when we're at the hotels, when we do these conferences and things, the business office gets our work with Dr. Wolf. She gives me what I need. I had a paper with authorization to use the credit card that was on file. I didn't have the actual credit card, but I did have authorization to use the credit card that was on file with the hotel. So that could have been looked into.
So we like Melanie's suggestion.
Question.
We have,
I would say that was good.
yeah, that was really good. I thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, Treasurer Luna?
I just had one last comment to the So the resolution, I guess, that's been supported on the floor, I think philosophically for me as a board trustee and as an individual, as a former educator in the city of Flint, on the list of priorities, I just think this one is way down on the ladder of things. I mean, we're dealing with struggles with student achievement, COVID learning loss that relates to our students' economic status and inequities. And I think this resolution is just a bad message to teachers, students, staff, and families. And in my personal opinion, it's just so incredibly unnecessary right now. And I'll just leave it at that.
Any more discussion? Are we? Okay, all right, let's do a roll call. Trustee McIntyre.
Yeah, can we maybe, if clearly something needs help with, whether it's on a micro level or a macro level, like we can deal with these things in subcommittee meeting, right?
Right.
So, I think this should just get moved, all these like minutia things should just get ironed out in the subcommittee meeting. So-
I do have one question though. Was this a matter of just for traveling purposes? As far as he's receiving a credit card? Was this just for traveling purposes or training purposes? Is that what this?
Sometimes we have hiccups in conference and you're traveling. And it has nothing to do with nobody did something error. It's just sometimes you run into those hiccups. And, a lot of people, we know what the board top issue is also. We also need to know what the district issues are, but we also need to understand that this board have to be kind of look covered and protected. And if we can just move this on a little further, we get FOIAs.
No, I thought I heard somebody. I wanted to follow up.
Yeah.
Well, if there's only
But
three.
that's something we can discuss later.
Okay, we can discuss, so.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, it's
No,
like
this-
there's checks and balances about
Right.
finances, and, you
Right,
can't
because
spend
that's
more
what-
than 5,000 and all that kind of stuff, and that's all covered under treasury and all that kind of stuff.
course.
So we can just iron out the kinks, of,
And again, that would have to go through the committee and
Yeah.
Dr. Wolf, right?
yeah, so like cell phones and things like that can go through the committee. Those are just daily things that need to be worked out that don't necessarily have to be, hashed out in a meeting of the whole. I mean, they can be in public meetings of the subcommittee meetings, but I think Trustee Luna is right. We need to, focus on the big picture, and this does send like a bad message.
Okay, yeah. makes
Okay,
sense to me.
well, let's go ahead and conduct a roll call vote. I'll call your name, please say yes or no.
Could you restate the motion, Mr. President?
I'm sorry.
Could you please restate the motion?
You want to withdraw it? Withdraw the motion? Okay, guess it's withdrawn. Yes, ma'am. Trustee
So we're
McIntyre.
in statements,
Yeah.
remarks from individual board members. So I would just like to reiterate by Superintendent Murphy, thank you for your masterful, and Superintendent Jones and Principal Fields for your masterful handling of something that could have been, what's the word? It's late. I'm going live. You kind of nip that in the bud, so to speak. You did a great job. Like you said, the threat wasn't actually in the building, but with an abundance of caution. I think, given the state of school districts throughout the country, that we're doing exceptionally well when it comes to some things that other school districts are struggling with and that's blowing up on social media. We've got that covered. We're not dealing with some of those crazy issues that some of the other national boards are dealing with. And so I just wanted to reaffirm what must have been a very fraught situation. We're still in the process of dealing with it. I hoped that we helped expedite and give you the tools that you need in order to meet with that, in a satisfactory way, and we'll get the backpacks or not backpacks worked out. But thank you so much, and I'm proud of our district, and I'm very confident moving forward with that. Thank you.
Final remark, we got an email, I think that's an HR issue, from the previous, from a previous HR manager or this person, and it came through an email, and I sent it to everybody, but I think that, just want that person to know if they listen, that will be handled under HR committee. Am I correct, Lauren?
Yes, so, I mean, it's going to be addressed and handled in the proper way according to the procedures, because we don't really want it to become a litigious matter.
Okay. I just want that for the record that it will go to the HR committee.
Okay, do any other board members have any comments before we adjourn?
I'm sorry, aren't we in remarks? We're just making remarks right now, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
All right, so seeing there are no more remarks? All right.
No announcement, none of
Yeah,
that?
the Board of Education will hold its committee of the whole meeting on Wednesday, February 8th, 2023 at 6:30 PM here at ALA, Accelerated Learning Academy. Seeing no further business of the board, I declare this regular meeting adjourned. Time of adjournment at 8:30 PM. Everyone have a good night.